people are just wanting change. Rich people want it, poor people want it, everybody wants change. Our country is really doing poorly. We're a laughing stock all over the world, and we're going to get that change very quickly. And this has been some incredible evening before it even starts, because people, they wanted to contribute to a cause of making America great again, and that's what's happened. We're going to make America great again. Everyone knows it. The election's going to be in now a little more than 6 months, and it's going to be the most important, I believe, election we've ever had. I think it's going to go down as the most important date in the history of our country. That's November 5th, will be the most important date in the history of our country. And thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here.
Congratulations, a big night last night. Michael, let me kick this off with you. What does that kind of a haul get you? Where will you allocate this money?
We are going to spend every single dollar that we raise on two key critical core missions for the RNC, which are getting out the vote and protecting the ballot. And we're going to make sure that we are focusing on the battleground states and districts where we need to be competitive, and making sure that every dollar that we raise is going to be putting lead on target.
The people do want change. Welcome, everyone. It's Talk Skin here today. I want to give you my analysis about Trump's record-breaking $50 million fundraiser Saturday in Florida, Palm Beach, Florida, to be specific. And I think this is going to be an interesting one, because in the beginning, you know how the month started. In March alone, I believe Biden raised $90 million, right? Yes. Biden campaign announces pulling in $90 million in March. And in a single day, Trump cut almost halfway through what Biden rolls in an entire month in a single day. This is what happens when he don't have to go to the legal proceedings. This is why he don't I think this is the least campaigning Trump has ever done in the year. And it's mainly because of interference from Democrat legal officials, right? Because apparently this is one of the main reasons why they always put Donald Trump on a gag order, because Donald Trump can point out how political this is. He said, yo, every single judge, every single prosecutor, every single district is prosecuting me from Democratic strongholds, Democratic counties. How this is not election interference? How is this not a politicized attack? That's why they put the gag order on him. So he can't campaign on this, but it's still having the same effect. March fundraising numbers show Biden significantly outpacing Trump. This was made 2 days ago of the time of making this video. April 6th, this article was made. Now, apparently, you got leftists online crying, oh my God, he raised $50 million. He's a threat to democracy. But here they are, right? There was a couple of conservatives, I guess anti-Trump conservatives, who are saying, you guys better pay attention to this. The DNC raised $90 million in March, and Trump only raised 33 million. This is a big problem. If GOP don't understand this is a big problem. GOP do understand this. This is why they overhauled the RNC. This is why we let go of Ronna McDaniels. This is why we put this guy in the intro, as you saw in the back-to-back clip. This is why the guy's the chair. Because for the biggest problem that Republicans had was that they didn't have the get out to vote efforts. Get out to vote was always synonymized with DNC or the Democratic Party. Because in my view, and here's some stats to validate my point, the Democrats rely on the ignorant vote. When I say the ignorant vote, I mean low information voters. This is why Democrats love voter turnout. Because, you know, they got celebrities. The Rock doesn't want to endorse anybody. This is why the left is also mad at The Rock for not endorsing anybody. Because these low informed voters are not going to be, motivated to vote. Because everyone's passively a liberal, technically. Because of all the Hollywood, because of all the media. If you look at journalism, most liberal profession in the world. This is why a lot of people are passively Democrat. This is why everyone look at Democrats with a favorable, positive view, and they look at the Republicans with a passive, negative view. This is why. Because they have control of all these institutions, right? Biden pulls in $90 million. I already stated this before, right? And then this is where it said Biden's campaign bringing in a massive $25 million haul and star-studded packed fundraiser. You know, you had Biden, Obama there, Bill Clinton there, and Trump just destroyed that in one night on a Saturday. This is what happens when Trump's hands are not tied. And this is why I think that the legal attacks on Trump will continue. This will only validate the Democrats' attack. Hey, this is why we got to attack this guy. And one day he raised $50 million. What Hollywood celebrity was there? Biden had Lizzo. Biden had all these celebrities from Hollywood, and they only got raised half of what Trump raised. And I like the messaging that he put in the beginning. People want change. Rich, poor, right? He ain't trying to divide people. The only reason people think Trump is divisive is because the mainstream media themselves are divisive and they project that onto us. I can give you an example. I in this channel, I showed you studies of how Democrats are more likely to block someone of an opposing political view from their social lives, exclude them from their personal lives. Democrats are the divisive ones. They're bringing the division. They coming in and they want to separate left from right. While conservatives were saying, yo, I just think you're ignorant on this topic. I think you're dumb on this topic. I don't think your approach is more effective than what I'm advocating for, but we can still be friends. Conservatives are more likely to say that. I'll probably put the facts in my screen. But before I continue, let's get a little snippet of what Trump was talking about in his fundraisers, and then we'll continue along with this video. Let's take a quick look.
Terrible president, the worst president in the history of our country, the most incompetent, the most corrupt. Other than that, I think he's doing a wonderful job. He's the most incompetent president. He can't even find. So tonight we got about 6 stairways in front. We have 2 in the back, and we have a ballroom in case you get lost. He can't find his way off the stage. It's crazy. And he's supposed to be negotiating with President Xi and Putin on nuclear weapons. It's a real problem. But we're to talk about borders now. In 2016, I got elected because of a border. I got elected. And the border was a big deal. But that border was a tiny fraction of what's happened to this country right now. When you look at the border, this is called something that nobody can even imagine. You look at Venezuela, you look at some of these countries, their crime rates are way down. Venezuela's crime now is down 67% from last year because they took all of their criminals and crime members and gang members and drug dealers, and they put them into the United States of America. But this is happening with many countries. And frankly, if I ran a country, I'd be doing the exact same thing. They're emptying their prisons and jails. They're emptying their mental institutions and insane asylums. You know, somebody said, what's the difference? I said, insane asylum is on steroids. That's Silence of the Lambs. Did anybody see that lovely little movie? Hannibal Lecter, right? This is Hannibal Lecter. Welcome to Hannibal Lecter, because we got a lot of them right now coming into our country and already came into our country. We cannot allow this to happen. We can't let our country be destroyed. I've never seen anything like it. You know, you always like to understand the other side, where they're coming from, but how can anybody understand that you can allow millions of people to pour into our country totally unchecked, including from disease and other things that they're carrying with?
Strong messaging from Trump, right? And this is why the poor, rich, this issue here, this border issue here, is a big Achilles heel for the Democratic Party. And before someone on the Democrat left come in and say, oh, well, Trump foiled a bipartisan border solution. It's not a solution. It's a comforter. It's a band-aid. It's a patch-up job. You want to increase more immigration protocol people, border agents, so you can increase the amount of people you process into the country. The core problem Americans having is that we're processing people into the country unvetted. We like to remain in Mexico, which is the Border Security Act that Congress already passed, but the Senate don't even want to cast a vote on. That's the actual solution we want. We want to stop processing. We want to stop. We want to stop taking in the flow. We want to reduce the flow of migrants coming in. Did the bipartisan border security thing that the Senate and the Republicans that Trump foiled, did it solve that problem? No, it didn't. It increased processing for migrants. It allowed Biden to have some power, but we don't want the president to decide whether, oh, I want a state of emergency, let's close the border. No, we don't want that. Follow the law. Hey, remain in Mexico. You apply from there. If you think you have a legitimate claim, then we'll allow you to come in. They want to increase processing. They want to. All you is going to make the border patrol agents. You're just going to make them an administrative state, focusing on processing, detaining people, giving them, I guess, more benefits to come over the country. Amnesty. I did a whole video on it. I just forget where exactly that I did. I done so many videos on the border. But then they want to neglect the crime that's happening, the fracturing that it's causing in our country. All you got to do is look at Black Chicago. Anytime someone says that replacement theory is a white supremacist talking point, I say, oh, go tell that to Chicago. Go tell that to people, the black people in Philadelphia. Make it make sense. Everything that happens, crime, disproportionately affects black people. Climate change disproportionately affects black people. But immigration somehow doesn't disproportionately affect black people. Make it make sense. Black people are the minority as a minority. If a wave of migrants, like let's say 46 million came through the border right now, who's more threatened by the 46 million coming in? Black people, minorities, legal immigrants. But no one sees it this way. I don't understand. This is just a framing job by the mainstream media. But, that's just my points. Never Trumper sees no alternative but to vote for Trump in 2024. This is why I never say never. Remember, Nikki Haley was like, oh, he'll never be whatever. Many Republicans who previously vowed not to support former President Donald Trump if he becomes the 2024 GOP nominee are now reconsidering their stance, citing dissatisfaction with President Joe Biden's policies and leadership. A former supporter of Nikki Haley and a prominent GOP fundraiser explained to Fox News that while his vote for Trump may not be enthusiastic, he feels compelled to support him due to the failures of the Biden administration. It is not an enthusiastic vote, Levine explained. I am left with no alternatives. In a memo to the GOP donors, Levine conceded that despite previously stating he would never support the former President Trump after the events that took place on January 6th, he would now be supporting Trump for the upcoming election. I wish Democrats will do the same thing about Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. I'll never support Kamala Harris and Joe Biden for the events that took place in the year of 2020 with all these riots, record-breaking property damage, lives being lost. More lives was lost on BLM riots than what happened in January 6th. But one is considered an insurrection and one is considered a protest. If that don't show you how biased the coverage of the mainstream media is, digital media is, this is why digital media is failing. Because we only hear one perspective, one narrative. And that's not interesting. Echo chambers are not interesting. That's what I grew up to realize. People love to debate. People love to talk. People love to, challenge each other. Because that's the only way we grow as a country, as a people, and on a personal, as a person. Right, but I digress. I want to end off this video with a little bit more of the follow-up about them bragging about this record-breaking $50 million. And let's see what Laura Trump has to say.
But ensuring a secure election is what a lot of people want to know what you're doing about, Lara. Tell me about that. You've said this is a priority. You said that the Republican National Committee has been revamped and is now a bonded entity with the Trump campaign. Tell us about it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Look, I've been through two previous elections, of course, as my father-in-law has run. And look, we have always seen the support of the RNC, but we've never been one cohesive unit. And the beauty of things is that right now we are. That means we don't need two people to do the same job. As Michael just laid out, every penny of every dollar will go to its highest and best use. We have combed through contracts and vendors. We are making sure we are getting the best deal on everything. But when you talk about election integrity, it is vital. It is the number one thing that we are focused on aside from getting out the vote, which of course Donald Trump himself will do for us. People are excited, and if they could go vote for him today, they would go do it.
I agree. I think enthusiastic wise, many of Trump's base is enthusiastic, while Biden base isn't enthusiastic. I showed you guys a poll, Independence. There's a poll out there that says independents would rather have an egotistical Trump than a mentally unfit Biden. And I believe the Democrats are stuck in this sunken cost fallacy right now, is that they're already all in, right? They waited until 2024 to hit Trump with all this stuff, and now all of it's backfiring, all of it's getting delayed, and you're getting mad. Like, if I was about justice, I'm like, hey, the inevitable will happen. But the left and the Democrats don't care about justice. They care about stopping him from winning the election. And they see this as a legitimate way of doing so because they feel like he's guilty. Therefore, he shouldn't be even allowed to campaign. I think this is why they're raging so much about him raising $50 million. And the reason why, and I know I'm going to hit a lot of people who disagree with me, I'm talking about independents, central leftists, is that the electric integrity stuff it matters. because you want to instill confidence in your populace that their vote does matter, that their vote is like the elections are secure, right? Because people have some doubts. People were like, hey, Facebook censored vital information that the voters should have learned about, but they didn't. Remember the shadow campaign of the mainstream media? Google, you can Google search this stuff. You can find it. The shadow campaign that saved America. That's the title of what the left admittedly said they did. I told you, journalists are overwhelmingly leftist. Journalist is the most leftist profession in the world. And you saw it play out firsthand with the Biden laptop story. They're here training notes saying we can't let this story get out because our guy has to win. And what is the result of our guy has to win? The state of the country right now. Biden doesn't even want to refill on oil reserves. How this is not setting us up for an oil crisis like in the 1970s? I think it was with Jimmy Carter, actually. We had the oil crisis. How are we not getting set up for an oil crisis right now? Biden went through the oil reserves to artificially lower the price of gas in the country so he can say, look, Inflation Reduction Act worked. But now he doesn't want to refill the oil because he has a commitment to climate change. And this is what I think Trump is talking about. This is what the angle I kind of want to hit at too. Biden gives $20 billion to 8 nonprofits to fight climate change. This is a non-problem. Climate change is a non-problem. Climate change is an exaggerated problem. I already gave you specifics. If you don't know my position, fossil fuels power 80% of the world's infrastructure. For 20 years, for decades, people have been pushing these clean energy, wind, solar solutions, and it's only been able to hold up 5% of the power of the country, of the globe, actually. Because solar and wind are so cost inefficient, that it is not feasible for solar and wind to take on the load, the infrastructure power load and power responsibilities that oil has. This is why everything's so expensive. This is why it's harder. This is why pretty much solar and wind cannot meet the energy demands that currently we are used to. That means the only way you can get clean energy is less energy, aka less people using energy. That means people, if you're real about this climate change stuff, you have to take a lifestyle hit. You have to reduce your lifestyle. You have to turn off your lights at a certain time. You can't have your lights just beaming and on all the time and take a shower with hot water, all this stuff. It uses a lot of energy. They'll have to demand you to use less energy for the solar wind alternative to be viable. That's the reality. Clean energy is less energy. Tell me I'm lying. I'll leave it off there. People want change, and people, they put their money where their mouth is. Let's see where this goes forward in April. Trump's already started April with a banger, $50 million in one day. Let me know your thoughts about the Trump fundraisers, where they're allocating the money to. Do you agree with their position? Do you agree with the Never Trumpers finally realizing that even if it's not enthusiastic, there's no other alternative but Trump? I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you guys watching the video, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.